Hey gang, I'm going to do an honest owner's review of a Gazelle. This is actually a 2021 Gazelle Ultimate C380 Plus, and I'll talk about what the plus means in a second. Um, Now I've done 250 miles on this bike uh, in less than a week, and I want to just give you guys a real owner's review because there's only like dealer reviews about this bike when I was doing my research, just like many other bikes or bike reviewers. And most of these bike reviewers may only have the bike for a couple of hours, uh, and you know, if they really say bad stuff about the company, they're not going to get any more bikes to review, basically, right? And the dealers, we know that they have an incentive in there to tell it to you because they make financial gains. Now, the disclaimer is that I bought this bike with my own money. No one's paying me to do this, so I'm going to give it to you, no fluff. All right. Now, I'm a strong rider. I normally ride an analog bike. I'll do maybe 50, 60 miles, you know, 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm a strong rider, and this is an electrical bike, e-bike, from Gazelle. Now, I've also owned a 2021 track Domane Plus electrical bike, and you know, I spent $8,500 with accessories on it, and that thing was nothing but a headache. Now, that track bike was nothing but a headache. In 17 days of ownership, I had to take him to the shop 7 days. You know, 45% of his life was at the shop. So I decided to go with, you know, a better company. And at this time I did a lot of research, and I came with this company called Gazelle. Now, the reason I didn't know who Gazelle was, you know, I wrote a book about flipping bikes. If you're interested in learning how to turn $100 into 500 or 700 bucks really quick, you might want to check it out. It's called The New Flip. But I've never heard about Gazelle, and I've seen a lot of different bikes from many different bike factories. And the reason was that this is a company in Netherlands, okay, and they've been making bikes for 125 years, okay. And unlike, for example, Track, or unlike Cannondale, unlike Specialized, they're the actual manufacturers. Like, they're at their office, they're just making bikes, you know. These other companies that I just mentioned earlier, they are using Chinese companies, manufacturers, to make their bikes, and they're just like a middleman. They're just like a brand. In reality, they don't even have, they're not making the parts at their factories, right? They're making it in Taiwan or in China, where in Netherlands, you know, majority of the population rides bikes, right? 50-60% of them to school, to work. You know, they got great infrastructure. It's like the mecca of bicycles. So this company Gazelle, they sell over like 250 or 200,000 bikes a year. So, you know, and the most important thing is they treat their employees right. They pay them good money versus outsourcing to some other company like, you know, they do in Taiwan, where their main concern is profits and cutting corners, right? So that's why I went with Gazelle, because I already bought in the hype of the marketing of a Track. Again, I was a brand new Track customer. In 3 months, I give them over $12,000. I bought a 2021 Specialized, 2021 Checkpoint, which is a gravel bike. That was okay. And then I bought a 2021 Domane HP Plus, which is their electrical bike. Very nice bike, but had a lot of problems. More problems than, you know, Swiss cheese has calories, right? So I wanted a bike that didn't have problems. And so I came up with this bike, Gazelle, because again, these companies, they're not, you know, they make the stuff in-house. Everything's produced from, most of the stuff they put on there is they make it themselves, and they use great components, which I'm going to get into right now. So this is why I went with Gazelle. Now that I have 250 miles on it, I can tell you honestly, I know I made it the right choice so far. Now, something can happen in the future, but I don't think so. You know, I'm confident this is going to be a reliable bike because I haven't had any problems with it, okay? You know, I did have a little skipping going on in a timing belt, but that was because they didn't install it right, you know, where I bought it from. And when I left the shop, you know, I heard a little clicking sound, but because they didn't put the QR code, I'm not QR code, quick release, it didn't tighten it correctly. So that's the place that I bought its fault, not the company. Okay, but so far it's been very, very smooth. One of the great things about this bike is that it's very, very comfortable, guys. So if you want to do like a lot of miles, I used to think you need those drop bars like at Domane or something like that. But really having that flat bar is amazing. One of the cool things about this bike is not only does it have the flat bars, but it also tilts back. Okay, it tilts back on a handle. I'm actually on a trip today. I'm going to do 50-60 miles. I've already done 16 of it in 100-degree weather. Today actually is going to be 99 degrees, guys. Okay, not including humidity. But I'm a soldier. I love riding bikes, and I'm blessed that the sun's out and giving me a good vitamin C. So very, very, very comfortable in this handlebar position. Again, I've only ridden drop bars, right? So I didn't realize how great it is to be sitting up upright. Okay. Now the other thing I want to let you know on this bike is that I'm 6 feet, and when I get onto this bike, it feels like it's pretty big for me, right? But this is what the manufacturer recommends for me, and when I sit on it, my privates are basically getting touched and maybe even a little squeezed. However, when I jump on it and I start pedaling it, it feels very, very comfortable. And even if you notice, I had to raise the seat a lot. Okay, so that's what made me realize this. Maybe this is not the incorrect size, and then the large should be, because I still have to raise the seat a lot. Okay, but so if you're getting the high bar, so be conscious about this. And I think these Gazelle bikes, whenever you approach them, they feel bigger than they are once you start riding them, unlike other bikes. Okay, so just be aware about that. Now, what makes this Ultimate, the Gazelle Ultimate C380 Plus? Well, the plus, I believe, represents this, that it doesn't have a chain, right? It has a timing belt, Gates carbon, which so far is pretty amazing. But let me put this disclaimer out there, guys. If you're coming from a chain bike, that chain bike is a lot more efficient than the timing belt. I would say this timing belt is at least like 20 to 30% harder. Now I didn't put it in a scientific thing, but I just went with my muscles and the way I normally ride my other bikes, and it's harder to ride this timing belt than it is a chain. It's not as efficient, okay, as but on the flip side of it, the positive side is I don't have to go see the derailleur guy, the bike shop all the time, adjusting my derailleurs. They're not going in the front clog or the back clog, etc. Right? So and it's very, very quiet. So with everything in life, we live in a world of dualities. You can't get the positive without getting the negative. So I just want to let you guys know that if you go with this system, at first, let me put another thing out there. Like, it needs some time to break in, because when I first took it home, dude, I was very, very sad because I couldn't go fast, and it was very hard on my knees, and it seemed like a lot more stress on my knees, even though I had it on the smallest clog right here. Because what you can do is with this, you can change it from up and down on how hard it is, and this little guy tells you if you're going up a hill. But I was normally riding on the smallest clog, the easiest clog, because I wasn't used to the belt. But after maybe 3 or 4 days, my muscles became stronger, and this thing started breaking in, and it feels a lot better now. I'm able to go to higher gears versus just the easy gears. But the other thing that's not makes it efficient is that rear hub, because this is the Ultimate C, which is continuous CVT, which means like you don't have to change gears into 1, 2, 3. You can go to 1.1, 1.2, all the way to 2, then etc. And you can also change this whenever you're at stop. But the downside of it is it does create a little bit more friction or less efficiency. So you will feel it on your quads, you will feel it on your knees. And I was surprised, because I'm a strong rider, that I was feeling it on my knees. I was feeling it on my quads, because it wasn't as efficient. Okay, but again, after a couple of days, my body adjusted to this, and these things broken in. So I think by maybe 500 miles, right now it's 250, by 500 miles it'll be more smoother, more efficient when I pedal. Okay, so that's what this C350 means, is that it has that CVT hub in the back, which it has a wide range, or infinity, they call it, range of gearing through 2 set points. And the S means it has a timing belt, which which doesn't have a change, and the benefits are that low maintenance, guys. And since, you know, I already had other bikes that had chain, I said, you know what, let me go ahead and get this. Okay, now let's talk about the price on this bike. This bike cost me $5,000 without accessories. If you add accessories on, it's going to be a lot more, guys. Okay. Now let's move into another cool thing about this bike that I really liked, was that it had this thing called the cafe lock. Okay, now it came with a stock, guys. Like, I spent $8,500 on a Domane. They didn't even have a lock with it, guys. Okay, so this one came with a lock, right? And I heard on the internet a lot of people were like talking smack about this lock. You know, first of all, this is not the type of lock you're just going to lock and go home and sleep 24 hours or 12 hours or whatever you do and leave it in the street. No, this is a lock where, you know, you're going to go into take a quick leak on a bike tour. Okay, you're going to go and drink some coffee. You're going to go have lunch. You're going to go have, you know, some shakes, or you're going to go, you know, walk away for a few minutes, but maybe you can still keep your eye on it. Okay, that's what that lock is for. You're still able to keep your eye on it, but, you know, if you didn't have it on, someone can just jump on it and just start pedaling, right? But this inhibits them from doing that. So it's perfect because, you know, again, it works great. The other cool option about this is there's a little plug-in that you buy that I need to order, and then you could lock it on, you know, a stationary device, and then hook it into and have the same exact key. Now you have the cafe lock, plus you have that lock into a main stationary item. That way you don't have to carry it, you know, a secondary lock that weighs more. Okay, now talking about weight, this bike is heavy, guys. Okay, you know, when I first got it, again, I was kind of disappointed because I just came off of a Domane. That thing was super light. I think that thing was like 34 pounds, 38 pounds. You know, very, very light, very, very fast, very, very efficient. And I got into this for the first 2 days. I didn't like this bike. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like this bike because I kept comparing it to a speed bike, right? You know, like that Domane is kind of like a Ferrari, right, or sports car. This is like an SUV, right? So I was kept comparing to that, and I wasn't happy. And then I realized that, hey, I have a whole different type of ride. You know, I'm now sitting upright. I'm very, very comfortable, right? This bike is made of high quality stuff. This bike is everything from the tires to the belt to everything is like high quality stuff. It's not gonna give me a headache. It's not something that I have to take to the shop like every other day or every other week, right? It's something I could just go enjoy, and you know, I'm not gonna break spokes like my Domane. My battery's not getting stuck in there, you know. So, and then I really realized that I have a different type of bike, and you know, which is like, you know, a sports car versus a sports utility. You know, I can't expect them to be the same. And then once I realized mentally in that, then everything changed, right? But if you're coming from like an analog bike into an e-bike, you're not going to be able to have that discrimination, like that reference point to say, oh, that other one was this. Okay, but if you are coming from something that was like super fast, then realize that this bike is not that fast. I mean, can you hit 28 miles an hour? Yes. On turbo mode, you can hit 28 miles an hour working pretty hard. On my Domane, I can hit 28 miles an hour in my eco mode. So, you know, I hope you guys understand that. But again, this is not a bike for going fast. This is, in my opinion, this is a reliable bike that will start up all the time for you. This is a bike that you can put your stuff on it. This is a bike you can haul your dog or haul your kids, or go camping and haul your stuff, you know, stuff like that, and go bike touring or stuff like that. And that's going to take you a place, right? I don't think this is a bike that you want to go very fast in because it's not very efficient. B, is very, very heavy. And how heavy it is, you know, on the internet it says 62 pounds. On the manufacturer's website it says it's 55 pounds. So I don't know, because maybe I have the hub and the timing belt that weighs a little bit more, so it might be a little bit more. But you know, once you get on the bike, you can't really tell because of the motor. But you know, just do know that this is a heavy. So if you're living in an apartment, if you're living in upstairs or something like that, it is challenging to take it upstairs. And I've taken it upstairs many times, and I can do it. But it's a little challenging, so I just want to let you guys know, okay? But this thing is like a tank, dude. This thing, you know, if I could compare it to something, I would say it's like the Toyota, aka Lexus, 4Runner, right? But they have the Lexus version, which is like GX 460 or 470. Is that the kind of bike? Okay. The other cool thing with this bike is, guys, it comes with a air shock, right? So whenever you turn it on, you can lock it up, lock it off. Whenever you turn it on, it's very, very comfortable, right? Even when you're just going into the streets and there's like potholes and stuff. Before I used to avoid it, now just like running over the potholes, right? The other cool thing with this bike, it has great tires, guys. Schwabes, or I don't know, guys, if you know, they're top of the line tires. When I buy bikes, I usually put Schwabes on them because I hate getting flats. Top of the line tires, they're rated for e-bikes. So is that fork, they're rated for e-bikes, okay? The other cool thing with this bike is, man, they have amazing brakes. Now I have a lot of top end bikes, but man, the brakes on this one is so much more superior. I'm not sure because it's 4 pistons, because some bikes only have 1 piston. Some other bikes, you know, my touring bike had 2 pistons, and this one has 4 pistons. And one cool thing to realize is, you know, 125 years of experience from Gazelle, right, is that they put 180 millimeter brakes on this one. And on the back, they only put the 160, which most bikes come with 160. But since, you know, this bike is a little heavy, you're going to put your bags on and stuff like that. You know, they put the bigger brakes in the front, because if they would have put it in the back, you know, if you don't have any bags, you don't have a trailer, when you would hit your brakes, you would just like skid out, right? You will lock your tires. So they have so much experience that they knew to put the, you know, smaller ones in the back, bigger ones in the front for emergencies, stuff like that, if you're pulling stuff. So that's where that is. The other thing is they have that Bosch speed performance line, and you know, the one that I had in my track was very, very buggy. I'm not sure why. This one hasn't been buggy at all. It's been very, very smooth. So you know, I don't have much to say because my last 2 bikes that I got from tracks that had the Bosch in it, they were very, very buggy. Now this one's been very, very smooth. So I'm not sure if they're engineering different, if they're mounting it a little differently, if they have less wires. I'm not sure, but you know, I'm not a mechanic, but I'm just reporting to you that on my Gazelle Bosch, it's been working pretty perfectly. I put 250 miles on it in less than a week. That's not that many miles, but I'm shooting to put up 7,000 miles, you know, by next year, if not sooner, guys. Okay. One of the other cool things about this bike is that, guys, it had the little lights integrated in there, and I'll show it to you right now. One of the real cool things is, you know, they're very, very bright. You can even see it in the daylight, and you know, it's integrated in there. The thing I like about the front ones, and I've owned a lot of lights and I've owned a lot of bikes, the front one is very, very bright. But the coolest thing about it is, like, you know, if you want to adjust it, you don't have to get your tools out. You just push it up and down like this. It's pretty amazing. I've never seen that in any other bikes. It does have an adjustable stem. Normally, I don't like adjustable stems because I feel like they're kind of dangerous. But what these guys did is they created 2 screws, one here, one there, and now that keeps that thing in place so it doesn't loosen up. One of the other cool things about this bike is, you know, again, it comes with the racks. And one of the amazing things is they created this little device where I've never seen it before. You just slide it in here like that and it locks up your gear, guys. Okay, no rattling. Okay, this bike's been rattle free. Amazing fenders, guys. It's not plastic. Like when I bought my track, I had to spend like 67 bucks buying a fender that was plastic. Yeah, it looked cool, but it was just like plastic. It rattled all the time. It has front racks, front fenders, back fenders. Now, this is the way I changed the gears on this bike. It doesn't have one of those firing switches or one of those little clogs where you go, but it does change like this. And this is what the CVT, the new Da Vinci does, is you're able to change gears in standing position. So if you're have a full gear with a trailer, you're pulling your kids or your dog, and you come up to the light, or you have to hit your brakes really hard because some goofball pulling in front of you. You didn't have the time to downshift, or you forgot to downshift. Well, now you can just put it down and it doesn't hurt your knees, and you're able to move, especially if you're under fully loaded. Okay. The other cool thing with this bike is, guys, it did come with a little cool bell. You know, other bike companies give you bell, but you know, it's kind of like useless. And the cool thing with this is you don't need any tools. You can just go like this with it, moving it up and down, because it has a little rubber thing. So there's a lot of cool thoughts gone into this bike. Now, I normally ride Brooks seat, you know, but guys, this thing was very, very comfortable. I put my Brooks seat on it. I couldn't take it. I'm not sure if I had the wrong Brooks seat for this bike, because my other Brooks excuse me, my other Brooks seat, or for like drop bars, I think, because it, you know, it works great with them. But on this bike where you're sitting up so much, most of your weight is on your butt. It didn't work out for me, so I put back the original seat. Very, very comfortable. I'm happy with it. I wish it did have a cut in there to give you a little AC in this Texas hot 100-degree weather. But guys, 250 miles. I haven't had any problems with it. Besides what the dealer that I bought it from, and I was disappointed from, they didn't even like put it on together correctly because they were in such a hurry. They had so much business. They were just trying to get everyone out. That's the only bad thing. Wouldn't recommend them. Besides that, guys, you know, so far beautiful bike. It does have a great kickstand, not a cheap kickstand. So what I'm saying is this bike is totally complete bike. If you buy, you don't have to add any accessories. Like I did add these bags and speakers and the little front things, but you're ready to go. I'm about to head up to REI. I ordered some new pedals. They're going to come up. I'm going to have them install them. But besides that, dude, you know, you don't really need to put anything on your bike. You have your lock, your security. You know, I would probably buy another lock. And, you know, so far, very, very comfortable. So if you're looking for like a really fast bike, this bike can do it, but it's not very efficient. You know, you're gonna have to work super hard, and you're not gonna be able to keep that 28 miles an hour speed for a very, very long time without getting tired. If you want a super fast bike, this is not it. This is a fast bike, but this is more of a joyful, comfortable, fast bike that, you know, I would say this is, you know, like a SUV made by Rolls-Royce, right? It's very, very comfortable, very, very reliable, which is the most important thing. You know, there are other cars out there that are very nice, but they're not reliable, right? It does have internal, you know, wiring, which one of the reasons I bought it. Amazing brakes, great handles, great seats, you know, great kickstand, great transmission, great motor. The geometry is excellent. You know, the only thing that I think is a little gimmicky is this little thing right here. But again, you know, once you learn how to do it, it's not that gimmicky. The first day I thought it was gimmicky, but you know, that could be a little improved on. But besides that, you know, I'm digging this, and I want to thank the company from Netherlands for making these amazing bikes, because there's a world of difference between American-made bikes. Well, they're not made in America; they're made in Chinese in Taiwan. And the philosophy of like cutting corners, getting massive profit margins, versus, you know, where in Netherlands they're more about comfort, they're more about taking care of the environment, they're more about, you know, taking care of their people, not outsourcing. They keep it all in house. You can tell the difference, guys. I never would believed it, right? I thought, for example, like, you know, I have experience with track. I just bought 2 brand new tracks, spent over $12,000 with them. Wasn't happy at all with the second product, which is the Domane HP 2021, and the first one, which is the Checkpoint. I've taken it into the shop at least 5 or 6 times now because of clicking noises or it wasn't changing correct. So, you know, again, I just bought this bike. I only had to take it into the shop one time because they didn't do the tension of the belt correctly, and I was pretty new to that stuff, so I didn't want to mess with it. But besides that, I put 250 miles of smiling joy on my face, and I'm ready to rock and roll and finish up my tour today. I'm going to do 50 to 60 miles. I've already done 16. Heading to REI, heading to downtown Dallas, getting some lunch, and that's it, guys. If you like this video, or if you have any comments, questions, leave it below. I'd be happy to answer for you. This is a 2021 Gazelle Ultimate C380 Plus. They do have the 380 and they have the Plus. The Plus is the internal hub with the carbon fiber, guys. Much love. Peace.